Hey guys, it's your boy here, Marvin Ambrosius, and welcome to another special episode of Marv and Basketball. And this episode's called What If? Because I know what you're thinking. This ain't a Disney Plus thing. This is a basketball what if. As in, what if Michael Jordan didn't make the game-winning shot against Georgetown? Let's go.
Running up the backcourt, never miss a beat, yeah. Looking for the quick shot, gotta beat the heat, yeah. Snaring from the sideline, working on your mind.
That's right, buddy.
Seconds on the shot clock, running out of time.
And it's messing with your mind.
Do it.
Okay guys, I was compelled to make this episode because, as you know, there's always these people talking about what if Ja Morant never got injured in the Golden State series this year? Would they have beaten Golden State? What if Kevin Durant never left the Warriors? There's all these what ifs going around, but the honest truth is, it's all a parallel and the butterfly effect. I could say, what if I got my record deal in 2004 and I was in a boy band and I smashed it? Like, it didn't happen. But the fact of the matter is, every single year and every single time a team wins a championship in any sport, not just basketball, there is something that happens to where someone may have got hurt, or on that day someone was sick, or on that day someone was just in a zone. You just don't know what's happening. And in the light of the season and what's happening now, someone like Kevin Durant, for example, he's jumped from team to team. Remember when he was at Oklahoma? They couldn't get over the hump against Golden State. And when they had Golden State on the ropes, Clay and Curry went off. And Curry played probably the most iconic game he'd ever played in his career at the time, including Clay as well. And then what did Kevin do? Kevin went over to Golden State. He didn't jump ship. They weren't winning any championships. He tried his best. Got to Golden State, they win championships. Has a conflict with Draymond. Not a big conflict, but enough to where he left the team. I don't know why you would leave a team that is going to be probably the greatest dynasty of all time with him on it. There's still a dynasty now as far as I'm concerned, but with Kevin on the team, let's be honest, who is going to beat him? Like, who is going to beat Golden State? And that's another thing. Why do we always do this GOAT thing? Like, I cannot compare LeBron James with Michael Jordan. The reason why I can't compare the two is because LeBron didn't ask to be born in this generation, in this era, to play basketball, and he might not have played basketball if he wasn't inspired by Michael Jordan. Just the same as if Dr. J never went from the ABA to the NBA to play, to which then Michael Jordan was inspired to play like Dr. J. It goes on, and the list keeps on going. There is no point in doing these comparisons. But what if, guys? What if Magic Johnson, with the flip coin toss, went to Chicago Bulls? Have you ever really sat down and thought, if on that day you just went, you did a Lance Stevenson and just went, and then that coin just said, nope, we're landing on heads. Guess what? He's a Chicago Bull, and guess what? What if happens he then goes and gets offered a Nike shoe deal? Oh, what shoe deal is this? It's going to be called the Magic Shoe. And he then says, actually, I'm not going to go with Converse. I kind of like how you're going with my brand at Chicago. Would there have been a Jordan shoe? Probably not. And if it was, would it have been the Jordan shoes we wear today? This is what I'm saying, guys. The what ifs are absolutely pointless. However, it is very interesting when you start to really think about certain things that have happened, certain events that have happened in basketball, and you think, just imagine if Clay and Kevin didn't get injured when Toronto won that championship, what would have happened with the Warriors? And that's the thing, you sit there and you can think about it, and as much as we go over it all the time, ultimately it doesn't matter, because it did happen. Those things did happen, those teams did change. The players now, like they like to call the new media, these players are in control of their actual careers, and they're really looking out for what they're going to do next. The only thing that a lot of us don't like, the traditionalists, we don't like the fact that players are just jumping ship too quick. We're seeing them be complacent, they build themselves up and they don't win and they leave. Whereas the generation that the Michaels are from, the Larrys, the Magics, the Spuds, the Dominique Wilkins, all these guys, they stayed where they were for as long as they could, to the point of where they did their best to win one. Charles Barkley never won a championship. Never won one. Jordan took it away from him when he went to Phoenix, and that was probably his best shot. And when he was in Houston as well. again, these are things that we can only talk about to where, honestly, is it going to happen? We don't know. Like if we go back when Michael Jordan was in high school and he was cut from his high school basketball team. Now just think what that did psychologically to Michael Jordan at the time, as a player, as an individual, as a person. Now, would that have meant that he built resilience to know what losing felt like to win? Probably later down the line, but would that have given him a killer instinct? Killer instincts come from failure, and the only way you're going to learn from anything is from failing. That was a huge failure for Michael in that point. So what he did was came back stronger the next year, and from then on, he'd realized you need to be prepared and over prepared for any situation. Hence the reason why we have named him the GOAT, because he did come back stronger every single time. Every time he did a comeback, every time, even when he recovered from injury, every time he played against Detroit, he always came back stronger. He may not have won every time, but the time he did win, Detroit knew it was over. Hence the reason why they never shook their hands at the end of that series, because they knew their dynasty was over. And it actually was. Funny enough, years and years later, Rodman ended up playing with them and they ended up winning. Absolutely nuts. But coming back to it again, looking at Jordan in college, playing for North Carolina, unbelievable basketball association, school. He was a great college player, but he wasn't let loose because he had James Worthy on the team, a Laker. Now, who became a Laker. Now, with having someone like James Worthy, who was the number one scoring option on the team, Jordan wasn't the number one. Think of Jordan, him being who he is. He wasn't the number one scoring option, but that shot he took, that shot, see, I know it by heart because I've seen it about 50,000 times. And just knowing what it took to take that shot, but what that did for his confidence. And what you got to remember, and he said it best, he's missed more shots than he's made in that situation. The key is, are you willing to take that shot with confidence? Now guys, that brings me on to the next segment, which we're going to talk about certain trade rumors that are happening. We mentioned him earlier on, we mentioned Kevin Durant. Now, I don't know about you, but as much as I can sit there and not know the ins and outs of how the NBA works and how players work, how the associations work, how the cap rules work, the trades and how many options you've got to get this draft pick and that draft pick, the fact of the matter is, I don't think it looks good. I just don't think it looks good. You might want a situation to where you want to leave a team because you feel like it's a bit toxic or the environment's not right. Let's be honest, with Kyrie not appearing for the games during COVID, I can't get mad at Kyrie about that situation because we were all kind of in the same boat. It was a weird situation to be in, and he never would have been in that situation if it wasn't for COVID. He would have played the games. He would have been playing in all the games. They would have had more chemistry and they may have beat Milwaukee that year. Again, what if scenario. But Kevin wanting to leave now after Kyrie just signed his extension, I don't like it. I think that he should stay at least another year with the team, see what happens. They're going to play a full season together and they'll know what's there. Obviously, Kevin Durant is going to get his money. There is no complacency there. There is no doubt that he is going to get the top dollar for the kind of player he is. He's a once in a lifetime generational player. So he's going to get his money. But what I want to see is I want to see them play together as a team. I want to see them for a full season, play their 70 games and go into the playoffs and see how strong they are. Now, with Kyrie and the trade rumors at first, when they were talking about him going to the Lakers, I was like, back with LeBron? Like, this is just weird. Like, you're listening to these trades and you're just like, this is a bit crazy. And then you start to see the trades like John Wall go into the Clippers. Yo, that is stacked. This guy was option 1. He was the option 1 player. Now he's option 3. He's playing with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Now, those 3 playing together, I am very interested to see because John Wall's going to be a distributor, but on top of that as well, he's now going to be left open for certain perimeter jump shots that he's never been left open before. He usually creates most of his own shots. He's not that type of player. Like, he gets off the ball, he likes to play in transition, he's someone that gets a few steals a game, and he loves running. But now, the game might have to be quite slowed down a little bit because Paul George likes to play a bit slower. Kawhi's very slow. You know, he's got that traditional San Antonio Spurs game, which he's kept in and throughout. But that's a very interesting trade. I'm looking forward to seeing that this year. Make sure you tell me in the comments and let me know how you feel about that trade as well. Now, the Rudy Gobert trade, I think that was really huge. Now, with obviously Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz, to be honest, let's be honest, Jazz were a big disappointment. Everyone thought that it was going to be between Suns and the Jazz, and then it would be going into Golden State and the Suns, and it all went upside down. Again, what if scenario. But I believe Jazz, they're just not deep enough. They're not deep. So I think with the trades they've got now, they decided to build a team around Donovan Mitchell, which I think is the right thing to do. Donovan Mitchell is one of those players where in the next, I'd say 2 to 3 years, he'll be like in the top 5 players in the NBA at least. Like he'll be in that mark. So I think they made a good decision. And Rudy Gobert, he's going to be absolutely fine. He's one of those centers which is once in a generation. He's once in a lifetime. Like you can't get someone with that length who's going to disturb everyone going into the paint. That's why I always think Golden State is so successful against them all the time, because they're a perimeter shooting team and they stay on the outside. And when they get them on the high pick and roll, it's pretty much a wrap. And they need to find someone with Donovan Mitchell that can stop that from happening. So you do need someone with size and length, but you also need someone who can defend on the perimeter. If you don't have that and someone who can't switch right, then what's going to keep happening? They're going to keep getting him in one-on-one situations, and ultimately, this is going to happen. I know. What can we say? Guys, we could sit and talk about trades all day, but they were my noteworthy trades that I felt like talking about. There's probably a lot more that I didn't mention, like the Caldwell Pope trade. That's pretty good, but I'm not going to go into it. But that's what we do, guys. That's what we do at Marvin Basketball. We just talk. It's Marvin Basketball. We're just having a chat. So you let me know in the comments what you thought the biggest trade was this time as well. Make sure you subscribe as well. Okay, we're going into my favorite segment now, which is...
I'll just wear these, Jen.
And that is going to be our Jordan 4 Military Black this week. The reason why I'm putting these ones out, they only came out, I think, probably just less than a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Maybe a little bit less, I'm not sure. 100%. I've got a pair though, but you know what? I love these shoes. If you're wearing black and white, there's not many other shoes you need to go with. The shape's perfect. You can dress them up, you can dress them down, but most importantly, I love the mesh, I love the design of Jordan 4s. I just love 4s are like, they're definitely, I was trying to contemplate and like, I was trying to think the other day, am I a 1s or am I a 4s person? Because when I put my 4s on the other day, I nearly did something I've never done before. Wore the same pair of shoes 2 days in a row. There's no other better shoe you're gonna wear. Like honestly, these just look great. You can dress them up, you can dress them down. I love the mesh in the shoe, and obviously me, I'm one of those 4s people. I remember getting my first pair of 4s and just getting these again, the detail, they're just beautiful. And I know it's difficult to get the shoe again if you can't get them on the retail price. I'm gonna link in the description the people that I think that you can get them for the best price, because you know that's a whole nother show. Joining raffles, trying to be first in the queue when you end up being last. It's such a horrible feeling when you're like, I'm gonna get the shoe, I'm gonna get the shoe. You saved your money up for it, you've got your money for it, and you know what? Someone turns around and says to you, your money's no good here. Like that quick. You're like, how did that happen? It's like going to the front, you're in a queue to actually go into a club, you get to the front of the queue and the bouncer goes, you ain't coming in. But it's like, yeah, I got my money, the club's not full. And they're like, nah, you're not coming in. Why is this so exclusive? We want to get these shoes. But yeah, on another note, these shoes are amazing. It is my shoe of the week, and I suggest you get a pair if you love your Jordan 4s and you got that color coordination down for the black and white. Now guys, I really appreciate you guys watching the Marv and Basketball show. This is the community. I want to build a community of people talking about and enhancing basketball, and we're going to be talking a lot more in the next couple of weeks about British basketball, not just obviously the BBL, the WBBL. We're going to be talking about 3-on-3s that are coming up, summer events, and we want to make sure that we can spread this sport out, go into the European Championships. As you know, we are in the Commonwealth as well this year, so we are moving onwards and upwards. And this year, guys, we got one of the best surprises and one of the best things that are going to enhance British basketball, and that's having one of our very own Jeremy Sohan, who is going to the San Antonio Spurs. He was the 9th overall pick. Now that is a lottery pick, and that is unbelievable. In the combine, he was killing it, and you can just see from his length, I think he couldn't have went to a better team and a better organization. I think it's definitely going to enhance his game. He's definitely going to become one of those team player and all-round players, so he's going to be a two-way player, which is great. He's going to be great on offense, great on defense, but I think one of the biggest things for him this year is going to be the minutes played. I think if Popovich gives him the minutes that he deserves, I think he'll be able to probably have a great breakout season and possibly make the All-Star break rookie team. I'm hoping that happens. But yep, much love to him, and thanks so much guys again for joining the Marvin Basketball Experience. Spread the love, make sure you like, share and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you soon.